through July 1st.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
So you had to come home before the fireworks.
correct.
That
My
sucks.
son has a fireworks stand, so it's kind of all hands on deck.
Oh,
You may
okay.
not have to work, but you may have to do something.
I got
Get
you.
ice, keep a kid.
Get busy.
Yeah.
But a lot of people buying this year.
Uh, no, not really. But it rained all day on the 4th, so
You
that
know,
hurt sales a
some
lot.
places around here they get any rain, and on the 4th of July, where I was at in Cabot,
Hmm.
it poured all morning long.
Well, it was just short spurts of really bad wind and rain. The sun would shine and it would just be pouring.
Yeah.
I went to Pangburn to walk in the parade on the 4th, and on the way home, it was rain. It was the sun was shining and it was raining so hard I couldn't see the front of my car. It was the craziest thing I've ever
That is
experienced.
crazy. Well, I've now I got to tell you, Mother Nature is weird. I mean, I have been on one side of the street in the sunshine, and the other side of the street is pouring
Yes.
down rain on them.
Or it's raining in the front yard but not in the back.
Yes,
I've had that happen.
I've had that happen quite a few times, to be honest with you. All right. So, what was it like? What was the setup like for the All American fair that they had there that President Trump put up?
Well, Americans for Prosperity Stand Together, our organization, had a booth. Just about every state had a booth. There was some controversy because
Pennsylvania didn't, Shapiro, didn't.
Yeah, North Carolina didn't have a booth.
Wow, that's weird.
Yeah.
Okay.
And all we were doing at our booth was trying to get people to sign the Declaration of Independence that we had, and then having them pledge to read the Constitution. We weren't discussing politics. Nobody there was discussing politics. It was just a celebration of our nation, and the founders, and all things wonderful, red, white, and blue USA.
Was Iowa giving out corn?
I don't know. I didn't worry about them. I went to Arkansas. I went to their booth.
What they have?
They had some great displays about our state, and I pride myself on knowing everybody in Arkansas. I went to the booth 3 times and I didn't know anybody working in there, so it was an ego blow to my ego.
Yeah, that should
but
be a
we had some wonderful
ego.
people there. They were all smiling and representing our state very well, and it was great and wonderful. I was very proud of it. I was.
So were people stopping by the southern layouts to hear the people talk with their draws?
Well, you know me. Everybody wants to stop and ask where I'm from.
Yeah, of course. I would never know you're from the South.
Never.
Of course, if you live down here, everybody starts sounding the same.
But it's fine for me because that's what, hi, would you like to sign the Declaration of Independence? Yeah, where are you from? It's a great conversation starter.
There's certain states that people are from, that that they're from those states. I mean, Massachusetts. There is no doubt when you talk to them that they are from Massachusetts.
Very distinct accent.
They talk like Bostonians.
And I saw a woman that had a hog hat on. She had a hog baseball hat on.
Oh, okay.
And so I started calling the hogs from a distance, and she turned around really quick.
Yeah, I hear somebody singing my song.
Yeah,
absolutely. That's important. When you're in the nation's capital,
right?
It's always nice to hear somebody that's from, as we say here, your neck of the woods.
That's right. That's right.
And
it was nice. It was really nice.
Don't
all
ask
the
me
things
how
the media was saying, of course, was incorrect.
Yeah, well, they were trying to make it sound like Donald Trump had control of the weather.
No, he didn't.
And we know it's a Democrat.
We were in gigantic white tents, the big gigantic white tents, and they had like a stucco facade on the outside of them.
Oh, that's cool.
But every time the lightning was moving in, they would evacuate us. And of course, being from Arkansas, I was standing out there going, what are we evacuating
from
for?
What? From what? I don't see a tornado.
Right. So they had a lot of great safety measures. The The security was wonderful. I got to know a lot of them. By the third day, they were, hey, waving me in.
Yeah.
So, but it was good.
You had a good time. Good. Okay, well, that's the key, because that's what the president wanted people to do, is have a good time.
It was wonderful.
You know,
it was.
He put
I
in
wish
a
he would
long
do it
day.
every year, but there were things that if they would have let me be in charge, I would have done some different things.
Well, that's all right.
I think we should have had food trucks from every state, like the best food in every state.
See, that's a very cool thought. Why don't you send them a text?
Oh, I'm sure they'll get right on it.
Well, but it gives them something to talk about, when they debrief each other.
Right. But all in all, I thought it was great, and I wish they would do that every year.
Yeah, that'd be fun. Mm-hmm. That'd be fun. And those tents, though, had to be inordinately hot.
Well, we were in the corner, and of course, they had vented the tents with air conditioner. So we had air conditioner on two sides of our display. So I was literally cold, but I wasn't going to say that I was cold because I was worried about my safety because people were falling out from the heat.
No, see, I didn't hear any of that. I didn't hear any of that on the media, that they had AC for the tents.
Yes, they were all air conditioned.
That's cool.
Yeah, and it was a draw, of course.
Yeah, of course.
Were coming in hot, and we were blowing.
Make you feel like you're back in the 50s again, where you walk by the movie theaters and it says ice cold air conditioning on the marquee.
Yeah, we had sweet air and freedom.
Yeah, that's cool. That's cool.
It was good.
Any performers come by?
I didn't have any VIPs come by when I was at the booth.
That's just disappointing. You with the weight that Arkansas carries in politics, you would think everybody would stop by.
They may have. It just,
you didn't recognize them.
Right. I didn't have that experience while I was there.
I'm surprised Kevin Sorbo didn't stop by.
Fox News came by and they ran a little segment about AFP being there. So
good.
Yeah. So
I like that you got some people talking about it.
And there were people there that I were working with that are from DC and live in Virginia. And they recognized people from the Hill that I didn't recognize, and they would say, "Oh, they're such and such," and, so it was kind of like, almost famous.
Oh, well, Fetterman didn't come by?
If he did, I didn't recognize him.
Well, you would have known it was him.
I think I would have recognized his.
You would have known it was him if he came by.
That's right.
And that's just the way it is. Because Fetterman, if he's not at Congress, he's in like me.
Right.
He's in a hoodie.
Right.
I wear a hoodie all the time. It's cold in here.
I think he was too busy trying to figure out how to get a state booth.
Yeah.
To be out walking around.
Yeah, I'm with you on that. That was the ball was dropped by Shapiro on that. I mean, I don't understand.
I don't know if the ball was dropped or if it was intentional, because there were people that were saying it was a Trump thing and, not to support it or not to go. So I just think it's really sad.
Did they have pictures of Trump in all the tents or anything?
No, they didn't.
Then it wasn't a Trump thing.
But, my son even got a little bit of that with his fireworks stand. People weren't celebrating because it was a Trump thing. That's why it's so important.
No, it's a John Adams thing.
That's right. That's why it's so important that we educate everyone about the founding of our nation. And the Young Washington movie is a must-see. Because
this is what I like about Dallas. She did I have her on to talk about the movie. I haven't asked one question about it yet. And she worked us around and got us to it.
I can always work it in.
I've talked to some people who have already seen the movie. They say it is incredible.
I hear it's so good that you want to see it twice.
Yeah.
So that's what I've been hearing.
I've been watching, because it's the 250th birthday. Right. I've been watching a lot of kind of patriotic.
I have too.
Movies and stuff.
I have as well.
Did you see the one? Have you seen the one about Wycliffe when he came to the United States, the preacher?
I haven't watched that one yet.
You got to watch it.
My YouTube and Netflix has been suggesting so many things about our nation whenever it first got started. So there's been a lot to watch.
I just started watching a series called 1776
Oh, yes.
It's been really good. It looks like it's PBS, I think, who did it.
Yeah.
And they did a good job on it.
Yeah.
They spent I mean, I did not realize, to be honest, see if you knew this, that the British offered indentured slaves freedom if they would come fight for them.
Right. Yes.
I did not know that. I didn't know that. I knew that we had a regiment of black soldiers in the Revolutionary War, the Continental Army, but I did not know that, they tried to get them to come over.
That kind of happens a lot.
Yeah, well,
through the years.
All of a sudden, the friend of, my enemy is my friend, even go through or whatever, however that goes.
They needed manpower.
Okay, so the Continental Army by about 1777 really needed it.
Correct.
Absolutely. We were really getting thin. All right, so let's talk about the movie. It's coming up on Thursday night, the 9th, 6 o'clock, right?
6:30.
6:30. Okay. If you get there at 6, don't worry. Munch on some popcorn before you go in. And you're going to see this movie about the young Washington.
Correct.
A lot of people don't realize. A lot of people said, "Well, Washington fought for the British." No, he did not. He was with the British, and he was like shadowing them. All right, he was learning their techniques.
We had aspirations at first to move up.
Yeah, but then he found out they didn't want no stinking colonists in their army.
That's right.
So I mean, that's the truth of the matter.
He found out they wanted to end his way of life.
Yeah.
And, not let him have the opportunities that he had dreamed and thought that he was going to have as a young boy. And, sometimes people create a monster whenever they cut people off at the knees.
When and like I said, I've been watching this show 1776, which I think is good. And you should watch it. You'll learn some things that you didn't know. But it's amazing to me that, after they started taxing us stronger in the colonies, that they didn't think that the colonists would not get upset about it.
I think it's because they got away with it in other areas, in other parts of the world.
Yeah. They wanted the colonists to pay back what the the British and the Indian War had cost us. The biggest mistake I think they made is when they said, "See this invisible line in the grass right here? You may not step over it, and you can't build on it."
Right. Cut us off.
Wow. I come
promo.
Oh, okay. Well, if you get to it, go ahead. Let me know when you want to go to it. All right, let's take a quick break because it's 20 after 7. Dallas is here from Americans for Prosperity. She'll be with us for a while. You here for the hour or just a half hour?
Well, I can do the hour.
Okay, she'll be here for an hour. She likes coming on here because she gets I let her talk, man. I let her talk. She can talk. All right, 7:20, Dave Elswick Show here on 101, The Answer.
I don't know, but does your community? With Salem Media's podcast and video production services, you can share your expertise and connect with customers on their commute or wherever they listen. We handle production and distribution, so your content reaches the right ears on multiple podcast platforms. Stop letting competitors own the conversation. Call Salem Media today and ask about our local business podcast packages. Call Chris at 210-526-3631. 210-526-3631.
Did you hear Congressman Bruce Westerman on the Dave Elswick Show?
I think it's a lack of understanding of history. Here we are celebrating America's 250th anniversary, and I sometimes wonder how much of the general public really knows the history of our country. I got a chance last night to lead a big night tour through the Capitol, and there were some high school students there. I'm not sure it wasn't the first time many of them had been exposed to very much U.S. history.
Wow.
And I do these night tours all the time, really like it when high school students and college students come to be able to just talk about
Why can I not become a British officer?
Because you are not British, George.
There must be a path.
There is not for you.
Go dig my grave, both wide and deep.
I sense a storm looming over the Ohio territories.
I could go there, survey it for you.
So you have ambition.
Since the Crown sent me to serve, I've yet to have a good experience with a colonist.
I look forward to changing your opinion.
Much of that territory is unexplored. It's wild, unpredictable, and dangerous.
What are you called?
George Washington.
Whose fort is that?
It's the French. And land claimed by the British Crown.
Demand the French leave.
Who does own this land, if not the one who has the will to tame it? Tell your king we will never leave.
Then they will force you to leave.
Oh.
These are not the open battlefields to which you're accustomed.
I have fought in a great many battlefields.
Not in the New World, sir.
If you fail, I'll have a colonial to blame.
This is a direct order, and we will obey it! Fire!
It's not your fault, George.
Major Washington. You lost.
You started a war!
George, there's no fairness here.
That is not the way the world works. Then someone should remake it.
Choose your path. Make it yours.
Forward!
And prove them wrong.
In theaters July 3rd. Celebrate.
I can't think of the actor's name, but he's been in every one of them. He plays the pig.
Oh,
Guy from Cheers.
Newman.
The guy from Cheers.
Newman.
Yeah.
From Cheers. Norm from Cheers, but I cannot think of his.
He's been in every one of the Toy Story movies.
Well, when I went to Boston, I had to go to Cheers. I grew up on watching that, and I wanted to go by there, and the inside does not look like it, and nobody hollered my name when I walked in. It was very, very disappointing. I thought everybody would know my name in there, but they didn't.
Well, that's why they didn't yell at you. It's because everybody knew who you were.
Yeah, but that was also back in the 90s.
Yeah, I
okay,
understand
well, whatever.
that.
Back in the 90s, back in the 1900s.
Yeah.
They don't do that anymore.
Back in the,
I was born in the 1900s.
The previous century. Yeah, I understand how that is. I mean, look, I was born like in the middle of the last century.
Right.
And it's really kind of bizarre when I think about it, to be honest with you. But yeah, that movie is going to be showing on Thursday night. You get your tickets at 1011 theanswer.com or faithtalk.com, or you can go to
AFP's
website and get your tickets there.
I also put the link up in the
Thank
live.
you. Thank you, Val. Or they can just contact me and I'll put them on the list.
Because look, the movie is free, but they got to know how many people they're going to have.
I have to know how many people are coming.
Yeah, because it's really, a hard way of doing things if you got, 600 seats and 1,800 people show up.
Well, I hope it's not quite that large of a venue, but I only have so many seats. So.
Well, yeah.
And we need to clarify that it's not tomorrow night. It's Thursday.
It's Thursday, July 9th.
The 9th.
Confusion on that. Yep.
Yes.
I got stuck on this.
It's the 5th. It's the 5th.
It's that's a good chance
And
that
the
you're going to
9th.
get it right.
It's July 5th.
Yeah, want to go see this. I mean, it's a movie. It's done by Angel Studios, isn't it?
Correct.
Okay, it's going to be quality,
right?
If they've done it. So it supposedly, I was talking to who was I talking to? Some folks out of Cabot. They'd seen it already. Said it was great. Said they were talking about coming to the free showing.
Well, they need to
see it again.
Bring someone with them.
Yeah.
If you saw it and you thought it was wonderful, bring someone.
Yeah.
I watched one on the History Channel a while back about George Washington, and it wasn't that great of production, but it was good. It's a great story.
Right.
It is fabulous story. And
the best Washington movie I've seen is the one that Jeff Daniels plays George Washington.
This is a different one.
Oh, I've seen that. What was it? Is that Washington?
Yeah, that might be just Washington.
I think it's just Washington.
Yeah, I mean they spend a lot of time in the Hessians and all that at Trenton and stuff because that was our first victory. People don't realize though that after that victory, we had like 7 victories in a row over the British. The British were stunned that the colonists fought the way they did.
Well, they had left to have freedom and liberty and live the life they wanted to live. They weren't going to put up with it.
All right, let's get a break and then we'll be back with more.
Bill O'Reilly here, and I'm warming up. Stand by for the O'Reilly Update Morning Edition. But first,
Americans deserve a healthcare system
the picture that's coming up Thursday night, Young Washington. This is about George. This is about George Washington and why he became what he was.
Correct.
Because he got screwed.
Yes.
And all the colonists were getting screwed.
Right.
The colonists could like serve beside. I call it like shadowing, except that typically when you go on a job and you shadow somebody, other people aren't shooting arrows or trying to scalp you.
Typically. Well, maybe not figuratively, but not literally.
Well, they were literally trying to do those things. And I'll never understand why Washington built that fort where he built
I don't
it.
know either. I mean,
it was between two urban areas and
right in the middle, nowhere to go.
Yeah, out there with all of the Indians at that time.
I don't know why he thought that structure would be
I don't know.
Fort.
I guess I thought, yeah, and they didn't have a fort like what you'd think of as a fort.
No, it kind of just like
put a bunch of planks up.
Yeah, like wood panel fencing.
Yeah,
kind of. Honestly.
Yeah, they call Conway fencing.
It just looks like a
a
tinderbox, really.
Yeah.
I mean,
it looks like you were asking for it, is what it looked like.
Right.
As far as that's concerned. But anyway, I like in the we heard the trailer there just a moment ago, and you hear the guy say, "There's all the free land out there, but the colonists couldn't go to it.
Right.
The Brits owned it." I mean, that's one thing that I didn't realize. Now I knew about the big fur company and all that stuff, and that they owned a lot of land up in Canada and whatnot. But the British government claimed a good third of Canada, and all the way out to, I guess, where Ohio started.
Yeah, what was the line of demarcation?
Yeah, I forget.
I feel like I'm playing trivia right now, but
yeah, I don't know.
It was a name for the line.
Yeah, it was crazy, and the people didn't like it because as you come across the United States, the land gets more and more fertile.
Right.
Before you get to the Mississippi.
Right, close to the Mississippi River.
Yeah, and those people were farmers, man.
That's right.
They were wanting to get out there.
Well, they had to provide for themselves, so
and
you had to be
families.
somewhere that did something besides grow rock.
Yeah. Yeah, they didn't live in Cabot, that's for sure.
Or Bryant. We grow rock there, and being raised in the Delta, I miss the dirt.
Yeah, well,
I never thought I would say that, but I do.
Here's what I know. In Cabot, when it rains, there's a lot of mud.
Right.
But when it all dries up, it's
rock.
all concrete.
It's rock.
Yeah, it really is. Yeah. It gets hard. I mean, really hard.
It does.
I have found it difficult to grow anything in the soil.
Yes,
in Cabot.
Absolutely.
Now I build things on top of the soil.
Right.
And then I fill up a potting soil or whatever, and it grows just fine.
Yes.
But
I know. And then I wait till it rains a whole lot to try to dig a hole. If I want to plant something, I'm outside in the yard with a shovel in the rain, digging holes for plants and shrubs that I want to put in later.
Try to use a pole digger.
I have a post hole digger. It works, but when you hit those little cords,
and you hit it,
it's not going anywhere. That's right. It just rattles your whole body.
Yeah, chip around it or whatever. It's crazy. Right. All right. Again, the movie is coming up day after tomorrow, Thursday, 6:30.
Correct.
At the Riverdale. Riverdale is at the bottom of Cantrell Hill.
Right.
You know where Whole Hog is down there. You know where the theater is at, and Matt Smith has been good enough to show this movie again there at Riverdale, so that you can come see it. And yet, this movie cost you exactly my best word that starts with F and has only 4 letters in it.
Free.
Yeah, free.
That's right.
I love free, and you get free popcorn.
That's right.
And a free drink.
Correct.
That's pretty good.
Yep.
You can't beat that.
You can't. And then you get to learn a little bit about George Washington and the foundation of his life.
Yeah, the key is
what made him.
Why was he like he was?
Right. He was a leader and was picked to be over our army.
And did he want to be
the Continental Congress? And
did he want to be the head of?
No, he didn't.
You know,
he wasn't interested in being the leader, but he was.
He was. You know, I think he was interested in being a military leader.
Right. Of course.
You know, he showed up at the Continental Congress in uniform.
Right.
And he stood out like a sore thumb. He was 6'5". A lot of people don't realize how tall.
And he was a good dancer, they say.
Light on his feet.
Right.
That was important back
I guess
in
he
the
was
day.
very athletic.
Yeah. Yeah.
Someone that tall that's a good dancer is usually athletic.
He was a great man.
I don't know what he was doing. I guess he was cutting the Virginia reel and
I have no idea. All I know about the dancing back there is what I see in the movies.
Yeah.
You know, and they're
looks like square dancing.
They're like holding some kind
of handkerchief.
The lady's got hold of one side, and the man's got the hold of the other. They move up, get close, move back.
Right.
You know, that kind of stuff. And then I'm saying, so where's the twerking at?
That's right. I don't think George was doing that.
No, I know he wasn't doing that. Yeah, he's my all-time favorite president. I mean, I got a big picture of him that is on the wall in my house. It's one of those that was a replica of the one that used to be in every schoolhouse in America.
When he has his black suit on?
Yeah, it's kind of a headshot.
Yeah.
You know,
okay.
Kind of thing. And that was, we put one of those pictures, big pictures, in every high school library here in Central Arkansas.
Oh.
I don't know if they're still up or not, but something tells me probably not.
Probably not, unfortunately.
Yeah. You know,
if you don't know your past, you don't understand your present, and you'll be lost and you're doomed to make the same mistakes. So I don't understand this. Let's forget everything about the past. I don't understand it.
I don't know who the Spanish guy was. I can't remember his name, but they've got his quote on a plaque as you leave the Wright-Patterson Air Force Museum, and it says, "Those who don't learn by the past are bound to repeat it."
Mm-hmm.
And he's right.
I thought maybe you were thinking about a Spanish explorer.
Yeah, I don't think that he was a.
Basset?
He was, no, it's not. I'm thinking. I'll look it up. I'll find it.
I'm trying to think of it. I'm just throwing out names.
But it's really, you know, and we have repeated ourselves many times in this country.
Oh yes.
And learn the hard way. So you better know how to fight your enemy before you get involved.
Right. Well, we are a government of the people, for the people, by the people.
Yeah.
Naturally, we're not going to be perfect.
Yeah. All right. So I'm going to let Dallas go because she's got. Now, are you teaching this class or are you going to a class?
I'm not teaching.
Well, you could have taught it. You've done enough radio, TV, and stand-ups and everything for Americans for Prosperity that you know what to do and how to look comfortable on camera.
Well, thank you.
And how to talk in sound bites. That's the key. You got to learn how to talk in a sound bite.
That's true.
People who are out there covering a story are not interested in you giving them a 10-minute answer.
Right. Well, we live in a 5-second world. So if you don't get their attention immediately, they have swiped up.
Yeah. If you go over 45 seconds, you lost them.
That's right. Absolutely.
You definitely have lost them. So I'll let you get where you gotta go.
You have a good day.
Oh,
Thank
I
you
always
so
have
much.
good days. You know, when you get to be 73, that I'm sitting here right now looking down on the grass and not up at the roots, I'm feeling pretty good.
Oh, well, you have 20 years on me. I'm 53. So
yeah.
It goes by fast.
Yeah, it does.
It's incredible how fast it goes. So you have to make the most of every day, whether you feel like it or not.
Yeah, because it's time that if you're just burning it, not getting anything out of it,
yeah,
then you're wasting it.
That's right.
You really are.
That's right.
Dallas,
well, you have a good day.
You have a good day.
It was
too.
good to see you, and I'll see you
out.
Thursday night.
Okay.
Actually, I think I'll see you Thursday. I'll be back here with Jimmy.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
You'll come back and make one final appeal.
That's right. One more push.
Okay. You always get the final appeal, and that's why we got her on today. It's 7:44. Let's go ahead and get a quick break, and then we'll come back, finish up the first hour here on the Dave Elswick Show.
I'd like to tell you about a man named Phineas who as a child survived the Holocaust. Phineas survived because Christians hid him from the Nazis, risking everything to save his life. Today, Phineas is in his 80s. He can no longer stand on his own or even leave his home to receive medical care. And when sirens sound and missiles fall, he doesn't have the time or the strength to reach safety. But once again, Christians are helping to save his life. Through the International Fellowship of Christians and Jews, a mobile clinic brings doctors and medicine right to Phineas's doorstep, providing care that he otherwise would not receive, especially during a time of war. Phineas said, "Christians saved my life during the Holocaust, and now again, they are helping me." As Israel's Holocaust Remembrance Day approaches, remember these precious children of God by lifting them up in prayer, asking for his protection, his comfort, and his peace. Stand with Israel in prayer by visiting supportifcj.org. That's supportifcj.org.
Foundations of Freedom, a look at America's founding principles and the leaders who shaped our nation.
When Abraham Lincoln was elected president in 1860, America stood on the edge of collapse. Over the next 4 years, the Civil War claimed more than 700,000 lives and tested whether our republic could endure. As the war drew to a close, Lincoln looked beyond victory. He looked toward healing. In his second inaugural address, he challenged the nation. Let us strive on to bind up the nation's wounds, to achieve and cherish a just and lasting peace. Lincoln understood that preserving the greatest experiment in self-government required more than winning a war. It required the character to restore what had been broken. More than 160 years later, America still faces division. The question is not whether we'll disagree. The question is whether we still have the wisdom and the character to heal together.
We asked Hugh Hewitt what America means to him.
It's actually freedom. The freedom to say and do whatever you want, the freedom to think what you want, and especially the freedom to go wherever you want, whenever you want to go. Go north, south, east, west. Get moving and get moving fast, because America's doors are always open. The land of the free. Everyone gets to go and do whatever they are capable of doing and going to. That's America.
The Hugh Hewitt Show. Afternoons at 2, right before Secular at 3 on 101.1. The Answer. Dave Elswick is the conservative voice of Arkansas, and he's back. 101.1, The Answer.
Okay, moving on from the movie, I want to talk about the big news story today, and that is that the president is over in Turkey. He's already arrived. I was listening to Fox and Friends this morning, and they were talking that he and Erdogan, who's the head of Turkey, have a good relationship. And, I'm still not sure that we should be, selling F-35s to them. All right. But I heard a person talking about security today and said that, yeah, that's all right. You can do that. But if we sell F-35s to them, in fact, if we decide to let them make the F-35 in Turkey, we should make them not use the Soviet air defense. And from what I understood from the discussion this morning is that air defense system is still in the boxes from the Russians. They haven't opened them up, and they have not put it all together. Did you see the story today about Zelensky wants the Ukraine to build the Patriot missiles? Did you see that, Val? Yeah, they want to build the Patriot missiles, and it probably would go faster if they did it, and because Taiwan's still waiting for theirs. They've been waiting for several years now. They would like to have theirs over in Taiwan ASAP, and they could reach the goal a lot quicker if the Ukraine are building things. Now, I don't know down in Camden if they'll like that, but I don't know. Camden, I don't know. They don't build Patriots, do they? I mean, I know they build cruise missiles, but I don't know if they're doing any of that other work as far as missile defense goes. But the president now is in Turkey. He's meeting with the president, Erdogan, and then he's going to meet with all the members of NATO. I don't know. The only thing that I know that's on his agenda is that he's going to call out names of people that would not back us when we, bombed the nuclear facility in Iran, and then over the last 40-day war, not giving us, clearance in the sky. See, there's something that everybody got to understand is that the United States has bases all over the United States. We got several in the Middle East. Then you got the NATO bases that we have. And that's important because if we didn't have those bases and have various components of the Army, Navy, Marines, Special Forces and Air Force stationed around the world, then it would be really difficult to, send up a group of B2s or big old buffs up there and get them to where you want them to go to. They got to refuel. And that's, in this last go around that we had with Iran, that's something that was done a lot of, and that's the refueling. Now, I know they got a new refueler. I don't know what it's called. When I was in the military, it was the KC-135, who did all of the refueling in the sky. If you've never seen that, just watching it is nerve-wracking. But let me tell you what, I've been on a KC-135 when they were doing refueling, and it is the bizarrest thing. I mean, the guy who's moving the mechanism for the refueling, really, when he takes over, he's like flying the plane. Just like when you go on a bombing mission, when you get close to the target, the target is turned over to the bombardier. And that person at that point then has control of the plane. Pilot doesn't do anything. He's hands off. The guy who's the bombardier is directing the plane to where he wants it to be when he lets go with the, of course, with the gear that he has in the back of the plane. But on the KC-135, I now, when they were refueling, I wasn't in the tail, but I was close enough that I could look out the glass and see it going down. Before that, they let me get in and slide into the tail, and that is the weirdest feeling. I mean, you feel like you're just hanging in space. It's really weird. And they do that, and they do a good job. They refuel fighter jets. They refuel the bombers. Bombers are the ones that eat up so much fuel in a short amount of time that they need to refuel them in the air. But the next time they have an open house at the Air Force Base, you should go over, because they usually bring the KC-135 or the model that took its place for refueling. they'll have them there, and you can get in and look at it, and you can see it up close and personal. And here's the thing that you'll notice immediately: there ain't a lot of freaking room in those planes. Look, they don't build those planes to be comfortable for the crew that's flying the missions. It's like the B-52. I was in the public affairs office up in Wordsmith, and the TV station wanted to do, a special coming up. I think it was on Memorial Day about, the B-52s, because Wordsmith doesn't exist anymore. But when it did exist, was a SAC base, so they had B-52s there. Well, they'd want to bring in, a producer. They wanted to bring in the cameraman. They wanted to bring in the talent, and then maybe a station manager or whatever he wanted to, and all those other people. I was worried about just getting the cameraman in and getting the reporter in, because that was tough. Because guess what? B-52, all the insides of that plane, there's these little tiny cubby holes that they give for navigation and for the different people that are on that plane, pilots and stuff. But the rest of the room of a B-52 is for ordnance. It's for bombs. I mean, if you've ever watched video of a B-52 when they let their payload go, I mean, it looks like it goes on and on and on and on. I mean, you watch the B-17s in World War II, and they drop out like 10 bombs and they're done. That's not the way it is on a B-52. And then they're dropping, those 1,500 pounders and things of that nature. I mean, we're talking, you can bring a lot of, you can persecute a war pretty easy with B-52s, because they can fly so high. The enemy that's on the ground doesn't know the B-52s are there until all hell breaks loose on the ground. I always tell the story about the first Gulf War, and Hussein hid his Royal Guard underground. Well, they didn't care. The pilots, the B-52 pilots, they just dropped their ordnance, and the concussive force of those bombs going off ruptured every one of those men's lungs, and they drowned in their own blood. I mean, war is never pretty, and when you get into all wars, it's about breaking things and killing people. That's what it's all about. All right, let's take our break, and then when we come back, we're going to have a veterinarian with us. Is that right, Val? Okay. We're going to have a vet come in and talk with us. I'll be looking forward to that. I've been trying to learn about cats because, I got a cat now. I've had him for just a little over a year now. And I don't know who's taught who better, me teaching Charlie or Charlie teaching me. He's taught me a few things. But anyway, we'll talk about it when we come back. It's the Dave Elswick Show. It's a Tuesday, and it's 7:58. veterinarian clinic, but it's where they do urgent care and they do surgeries and things if necessary.
It is. Yes, sir. Thanks for having me today.
Yeah, it was funny. She came in here when we were talking. I was talking about Charlie, my cat, and she has been raising Great Danes for years. She said, "You got your first one when you were 16?"
I've had them for many years. I've had a set of 6.
Oh wow!
A six
They
Great
don't
Danes.
live long, do they?
Mine average about 13, but mind you, I work for a vet clinic, so
Yeah.
I have access to a lot of care. So
The only thing I know about Danes is what I've learned on Dr. Pol.
right.
I love that show.
I do too.
I mean, if there's sometimes when you don't see anything you want to watch, and I go to Dr. Pol or I go to Bones, one or the other,
Absolutely.
and watch an episode. And one of the best episodes that they did was his son had a Great Dane,
hmm
and it was getting ready to pass. They knew that she was gonna die, and that was it's a heart-rending show. When you show that, because people have very close relationships with their animals.
They do. We deal, unfortunately, with a lot of euthanasia, a lot of natural death as well from injury, illness. But because we're there after hour, we get to see a lot of those things that occur when it's not so convenient for owners.
Okay.
Yeah.
It's what's the big thing now? I mean, used to be, people took their dogs and cat were spayed or neutered or whatever, and then for a lot of cat owners, they had the cat's claws taken out. That most vets won't do that any longer. Is that just kind of an unsaid rule now?
It really is. We've kind of moved in veterinary medicine to some elective surgeries not being as one, common. 2, it's sometimes viewed as being unnecessarily painful. So for instance, there are a lot of veterinarians who wouldn't declaw a cat. There are a lot of veterinarians that wouldn't crop ears because it is elective and not necessary.
Cropping is like what they do with Dobermans.
Correct.
And
Yeah.
they trim the ears so they have that pointy look.
Yes. Yes.
And when they do that, it looks like they wear a crown for a week or two, because they stick the ears onto the crown so they stay up.
Yes, I did that one time with one of my Great Danes, never again. Horrible process in that he just ripped the bandages off every day. So, yeah.
Right.
So,
Well, so you tell me, most people that use your service, they're not the people who come in just to get shots and things of that nature. These are, animals that maybe another vet has found out the animal has cancer or something like that, and they need, a complex operation.
absolutely. So we're a really, you use the word exactly that I needed to use. We're very comprehensive. So we can do everything from vaccines, of course, and we do have some of that, but our primary focus is going to be urgent care. So we were opened so that when your regular vet was so busy he couldn't get you in, which is very common these days, just because of the number of pet owners in the
Yep.
world, we're there to provide stabilization, care, surgery, whatever that might be, and refer back to your regular vet for follow-up, or we can continue to do all that follow-up as well.
All right, Stephanie, you tell me now. If there's one, there's 50 commercials on television or on the radio about, do you feed your dog or your cat kibble, and that it's not good for them because it's dead food. That's what
Okay. Yeah.
they talk about. Is that right?
Well, there's mixed views on everything, right? But
Yeah.
from my experience in veterinary medicine as the practice manager, and I've been around a lot of veterinarians, kind of the consensus I hear is that depending on the type of kibble, dry food, that's what I use for my dogs as well. That is better for an animal than human food, for sure.
No
It's better
scrap.
than a grain-free diet. So you hear veterinarians say, they need to be on a good dog food like Hill Science Diet or Rural Canin or Purina. They need to not be getting human food. They need to not get bones and treats that are not designed for dogs. So you just have to be very mindful about the type of food you get for the best benefit for your pet.
Some people might think this is crazy, but it's something that you should do, and that is you should look at the ingredients in the food that you're feeding, your best buddy or whatever. And if the first thing in it is corn, not the best, thing to feed them.
Correct. And we kind of believe in the veterinary world about going with a company that puts a lot of development and research into their products. So obviously we're going to recommend some of those diets that are unfortunately sometimes a little more expensive, but it's because they're backed with the science and the actual ingredients that your pet needs, like Hills or Purina or Royal Canin.
Okay, because I fed my cats and dogs dry food since I can remember.
Mm-hmm.
And the reason I moved to dry food is that if you give them canned food, that don't necessarily mean it's better. And secondly, it always upset the systems of my cats. And I tell you, litter boxes smell as anyway, you don't want to add to the aroma. And
absolutely.
If you got wet food, you're going to get that.
Yeah. And I've always heard veterinarians say too that, dry kibble, it's going to work a little bit on that tartar on their teeth as well, because they're chewing a harder product. It's helping to chip away some of that tartar, which is so important and can be so imperative for pets.
Let's talk about that then, because when you take your dog in for their yearly checkup, you want your vet to pull back I'm just going to say lips.
That's what I say. I guess jowls is probably the proper word, but I say their lips.
To look at the bottom of the teeth and things. We took a dog from some friends of ours, and he had terrible teeth. And I had him cleaned one time, but that is an expensive proposition.
It is expensive, but it is so necessary because there are some long-term implications from poor dental health with pets, just like you and I. If we don't ever go to the dentist, right, we might, we're harboring bacteria and things in our mouth. And with pets, long-term, we can see some problems from animals that don't have some proper dental care. Now, I preach that. I'm the first one to say, I can't brush my own dog's teeth. I can't get it done. So, I do believe in dental cleanings, and it is expensive, but then you also look at it is a surgery. It is an actual sedated procedure.
Yeah,
so,
they not look your dog or your cat. It's not going to, be appreciative.
Not so much
that you're trying to take care of them.
Yeah, I'm impressed with those folks that can brush their dog's teeth, but I sure cannot.
Well, I'm amazed at the people who can clip their own animals' nails, because I have yet to be able to do that with any animal that I've got. I've tried the Dremel and the whole 9 yards, but I just make an appointment now and go in and let them do it.
Absolutely.
My dog's vet can't even do my son's dog. They have to give him like stuff to knock him out. He won't keep. He just moves around.
You should see me trying to do Great Danes. It takes two of us, and one of us come out with a black eye every time. So,
oh my gosh.
So it is worth. Sometimes people talk about, oh, it's too much money to pay to have somebody do the nails. It is so worth it. And if you think about it, we're paying 2 staff members to go into combat sometimes.
Yeah.
For real.
Yeah, they probably wear, Kevlar masks and things. And it's crazy stuff because, most animals don't like it when you mess with the paw.
Absolutely.
Or mess with their mouth.
That is so true.
And I don't know about everybody else, but I don't speak cat. And I know I don't speak dog.
Is it the noise that they don't like, or just maybe they've been hurt before? Because it hurts when I clip my nails sometimes.
It does. If they ever get nicked, you kind of have created, some long-term fear sometimes, and it's inevitable. You always are going to nick a nail at one point or another. And animals just don't like their feet touched, and animals don't want to be restrained, against their will. So we kind of laugh about sometimes at my hospital, which is an extremely busy hospital. So on a weekend, it's not uncommon to have 30 people there waiting.
Wow.
You'll hear an animal in the back, screaming. And I do a lot of crowd control and just reassuring we're not hurting your pet. We're either probably taking the temperature or cutting nails, or they just don't want to be there in a kennel.
You can't put the thermometer under their tongue.
You cannot. It
doesn't work.
Goes in a different place, and nobody likes it.
Yeah, they're not happy about it. But yeah, Charlie, he understands. I guess it's by smell now, because we go to the vet. As soon as I walk in the door, he knows, and he starts crying.
They do. They're smarter than we give them credit for at times.
Is it true? And I'm just off the beaten path here, that cats understand like 200 words?
I don't know that I've necessarily read studies on that, but how you hear tidbits of that. I can see where that could be true. I've heard, that is with dogs as well. I've had staff members bring their own dogs in and put me to shame because my dogs are not very well trained. I'm not a great trainer, but I have staff that have their dogs trained to commands in Spanish and English and multiple languages. And I mean,
that's crazy.
It just embarrasses me every day because when I bring my dogs, they act like kangaroos there. So
like when I bring my dog to the vet, I have 2 Dogo Argentines, and they're so good. When I help my son take his lab, I have to put a muzzle on the lab.
Oh yeah.
The lab is crazy, like barking at everybody. I have dogos. Everyone thinks my dogs are scary looking, but the lab is the one that'll, he's crazy. Yeah. How do you address that part?
Here's what I found out about dogs. Now, I'm one of those guys that likes big dogs.
That's me too.
I can tell Stephanie likes big dogs because she's like,
I don't know something about a big dog. I'm afraid I'll step on a little one.
Yeah, well, I'm not what I call a yippy dog person.
Yeah,
they drive me nuts. They really do. Anything passes within 3 miles of your house, they're barking at.
Yeah.
So the best dog that I've ever had was a Rottweiler. He was born of a championship bloodline and whatnot. He's smart as a whip, and he was a great dog. His name was Brutus, and he lived up to the moniker. But that dog was one of the best family dogs I've ever had. In the morning, the kids wanted to watch cartoons. He would lay down in front of the TV and let them lay against him.
So sweet.
And watch the cartoons. It's amazing. And then I hear people say, well, you should have a special license if you got a Rottweiler. Let me tell you, that it's the breeder who should be telling you when you take and get a Rottweiler, it's going to be a big dog. I mean, Bruce weighed 150 pounds. Here's the first thing I had to teach him. When I say stop, you stop.
Yeah.
It took a while to get him convinced about that, but he finally did. And I never had any problems. However, if I was in the yard and I never went outside without him being on a lead, there was like a lady that lived 2 houses down from me in San Antonio, and she just let her little yippy dog run free. And Bruce is watching this dog, and I looked at her. I said, "You should put him on a lead, and you need to get him away from my dog because he's going to infringe on his territory." And if you know anything about Rottweilers, they're very protective of their territory. Well, he killed that dog.
Yeah.
The dog came running into the yard and yipping at him, barking at him, and nipping. Well, when he nipped his hind leg, I mean, Bruce just turned around and one bite was it.
Absolutely. So that kind of makes me think about, so a lot of what we do, of course, we do surgeries, complex procedures, all kinds of things. But one of the big surgeries that we do almost every day is going to be laceration repairs from we call an attack by dog.
Okay.
ABD. That's how we write that. Attacked by dog. Whether it be a housemate, another dog, a neighbor's dog, And so we can socialize our dogs. We can train them as much as you want. We make them into wonderful companions, as gentle as they need to be with us. But animals are animals, and there's always going to be instinctual things there that if they feel threatened, that's how they protect themselves. So it's just inevitable. I mean, dog fights happen.
How do you get people to understand, though, just because your dog is not going to bite my big dog, my dog's on a leash, and then like people just let their dogs. I mean, it's once a week that a dog will try to run up to me, and I'm like, no, because I don't know what my dog's going to do.
Right.
Like, because like you said, doggos are very protective also.
Absolutely.
And my dog's bite is double of a pit bull.
Right.
They don't know it. They're you know, but if a dog, then they would find out. And I tell people, get your dog, please. Cause I don't want to alarm them, but my dog, if it's not going to be a friendly interaction when they go up to him yapping at him, then they'll kill him.
Well, between size also, it depends on kind of the work that the dog does. I mean, when you get an Australian collie, that's a dog that's used for herding, and that's instinctual. That's in their system, and I mean, Baron wouldn't have hurt a fly unless you got between him and us.
Well, and that's the role of a dog. I mean, they are protectors by nature. So, the more community education we can do, you mentioned about how do you get people to understand that. I don't know that we will all get everyone to understand that. I don't think it's possible because we humanize our pets. Mm-hmm. Yeah. I do the very same thing. I consider them my children, right? But community education needs to be centered around the fact that we do need to be mindful that animals are animals, and that you could have the sweetest, nicest dog in the entire world, but they have a place in their pack. And if their role in their pack is threatened, the way they respond is going to be with their mouth. You and I can call somebody a bad name, right?
Right, yeah.
But, they're instinctually, programmed to protect. And so that's just what's going to happen on occasion.
Before a dog attacks, typically they give you all kinds of indicators that, hey, back. I'm glad that there's people now that say to me, or back in the day when I had Baron and he's sitting there next to me, and little kid with his parent, and he wants to pet the dog. Everybody wants to pet the dog. Well, Baron would let you pet him, but I better say, Baron, it's okay.
Yeah.
And if I say it's okay, it's okay. But if I didn't, you might have a child without an arm.
Yeah, absolutely.
And then it's your fault.
Yeah. One thing we face in the veterinary world quite a bit, we do utilize muzzles. They are extremely necessary. It is offensive to some owners, right? And all owners say, my dog would never bite. Mine's the sweetest dog in the world. But when a dog is injured or ill,
got the scars to
I
prove
bet
that.
I do.
That's not true.
I mean, that's like these parents that say, "Oh, my kid would never do that."
Yeah.
Right? Know your dog very well.
Yeah.
Then.
Well, and if you're injured, you're hurt, you're sick, whatever, they bite when they are in pain on occasion. So, we have to do some convincing sometime with owners about this truly is for your dog's safety as well as ours. My job as a practice manager is to also protect my team as well as my patients. And, we have dog bites every year. I mean, it's just inevitable. Although I will tell you, if you ask 9 out of 10 people that work in the veterinary field, who's going to bite them first, it is not a pit bull. It is a Chihuahua.
I was going to say Chihuahua because I've been bit by a Chihuahua.
Chihuahuas are just so high, high tension dogs. I hate those dogs. I'm sorry, I do. I just don't like them. If it's Mexican, it probably should be in a tortilla somewhere.
They are great dogs, but you hit on the exact point. They are high energy and they are protective as well. And they have little man syndrome, so people should know that about them. Yeah.
Just think Kevin Hart when you look at a Chihuahua. All right. It's 825. What's your address?
We're at 14300 Cantrell Road. We are going out Highway 10 kind of toward Pinnacle Mountain.
Oh, okay. All right.
Mm-hmm.
I know where they're at.
We're not far from you here.
All right. So let's take a break. Then we'll come back. We'll talk more. But Stephanie, we got you for the hour?
Sure.
Okay.
If you need me to.
We'll keep
Absolutely.
You here. Yeah, I get questions. You know, I'm one of those people. I get all kinds of questions. We'll come back and talk more in a moment.
Schedule. That's why we're here, keeping you up to date with all the biggest stories of the day. We're 101.1 The Answer, where Little Rock comes to talk.
With things moving fast to resolve the situation in the Middle East, the headlines may change, but the fundamentals haven't. America's debt continues to climb, and uncertainty still hangs over the global economy. That's why investors continue turning to one asset that has stood the test of time: physical gold and silver. For generations, gold has been viewed as a safe haven asset.
We got just a little bit of time here before we get to the news. Stephanie, I got enough time for you to talk about what's your phone number.
Okay.
If people are interested in getting a hold of you to avail themselves of your services.
Okay. So they can reach us a bunch of different ways. Our phone number is 501-319-7355. And then, of course, they can always Google us, look at the website, even complete a new client form on there in preparation for a visit. So.
All right. So give the phone number again.
501-319-7355.
All right. So there you got it. We're going to bring her back in just a moment. But first, we're going to break for news, find out what's going on over in Turkey, because the president's in Turkey today. He's talking Turkey with Erdogan right now. And maybe they have some information about what they've been discussing. So we'll bring you up onto that when we come back. And news is now.
With SRN News, I'm Rich Thomason in Washington. President Trump arrived in Turkey a few hours
I have a veterinarian's assistant. Is that the correct term?
I'm the practice manager.
Okay. Which means what are your requirements?
So I'm an administrative professional, so I'm basically responsible for everything in the building.
Okay.
So
before the animal gets to the vet, you're going to have talked to the owner and
possibly, but I ensure that this business stays up and viable. So in other words, I maintain all the financial stability of it. I'm oversee revenue. I pay expenses. I hire. I train. I sometimes fire. I make sure we've got enough staff. I have 32 staff members right now. So yeah.
So do you board pets as well?
We do not. So since we are primarily urgent care, we don't board unless it's medical observation, unless it's medically needed related to treatment.
All right. So I got questions. I got lots. And I'm sure there'll be ones that you hear all the time. First question. Can people call you up or talk to you and say, I've got a family, I've got young kids right now. I got 3 kids and 3 and 1. All right. Can you help them pick out a pet that would be good for their family?
We can give some kind of basic tips just based upon our experience. Most of us in this field have been in the field for quite a while. So we kind of know the natural tendencies and characteristics of pets. And, along those lines, we would want to help families kind of do the research, encourage them to read about a type of pet. What is going to be best for your family? Yeah.
Now, I would highly suggest that unless you want to do a rescue animal, the only problem I have with rescue animal, Charlie, my cat's a rescue, but he was a kitten. I mean, he just got to the shelter because like a lot of owners, they don't get their cats spayed or neutered, and they end up with a big old box of kittens that they're trying to give away. And I took one of the kittens because, just to be honest, I'm not trying to be mean, but I don't want to have to take care of your baggage when I bring a new animal into my household.
Yeah. I mean, there is a huge overpopulation problem in Arkansas. We are all proponents of spay and neuter. But we do see a lot of unwanted animals that end up, being adopted by families. And sometimes it's not the right fit. So.
Yeah, you want to make sure that you don't let your animal outside the house just to run wild, aren't you?
Absolutely. A lot of what we see, particularly even over the July 4th weekend, animals that get out and run around, what happens? They get hit by cars.
Mm-hmm.
So there are a lot of responsibilities associated with pet ownership.
Yeah, it's not a human life, but it's a life.
It's a life, nonetheless.
And you should know what is necessary on your part to make things as good as you can.
Absolutely.
But now I'm not saying you should go, if you got a little schnauzer, you should dress it up in a tuxedo or something. I get a little bit irritated with people who do that. I mean, look, it's a pet. It's a dog or a cat. It is not a human being.
And that is true. However, I will kind of ride both sides of the fence with that,
Okay.
right? So, these days, pets truly are members of the family. There are a lot of people, I'll use me as an example. I don't have children, my own children. So my animals have been the primary, I don't want to say babies, but we use the word babies. They've been my babies my whole life. So, we have to.
A Great Dane is a baby.
2 Great Danes, my little babies, right? So that is truly how people typically see their pets these days. And so, we want to, I guess, respect their, their feelings about that. But you are also correct. Pets are pets. So it kind of all goes back to, again, responsible pet ownership.
Okay, so I've heard a lot of things about, pet health insurance and things of that nature. Is it worth having insurance for your pet?
In my opinion, it is.
Okay.
As somebody who runs an emergency hospital and who, we see, gosh, sometimes 30 to 40 pets on a Saturday for emergencies, it is worth paying that little bit of money up front, because at any one time, you never know what's going to happen to your pet, right? And if you get into a true emergency that might require surgery or whatever, you're looking possibly at thousands of dollars to treat that. So, I particularly think it's worth it to pay a monthly premium to have some of that reimbursed if you have that emergency.
Because a lot of the vets, they undergo training longer than a regular doctor does.
It's a lot. It's a lot, and if you think about it, veterinarians need to know 100 different species of patient, right? So
that's like Dr. Pohl. I get a kick when somebody comes in with a hedgehog, or they come in with a with some kind of iguana or something like that.
Yes.
And he knows the guy is a walking encyclopedia.
Yeah, he's amazing. Do you know he was recently in Arkansas and gave
Really?
a shout out to us, to my hospital as well, because he went to talk to ASUBB, who hosts the nearest certified veterinary technician program.
Uh-huh.
So he was a speaker there. And so one of my employees got him to say, "Hey, out west, hey, how are you doing?" So it was kind of cool.
Yeah, well, absolutely. I mean, he's probably the most well-known vet on television. There was another guy that was out in Colorado that used to have a
Dr.
show.
Jeff.
Yeah, Dr. Jeff. I haven't seen him lately.
Yeah, I haven't either, because I don't have a lot of time to watch TV these days, but I've always loved those kind of shows.
Yeah. Oh,
you get to see behind the scenes of what it really looks like in a hospital.
When I watch it, I'm always glad that I didn't take up veterinary medicine. I can't even see myself putting on one of those big gloves and inserting my hand into the rectum of an animal.
Takes a special person to do large animal medicine.
Absolutely does for that. But he deals. He's unique because he deals with big animals. He works on the farms, of course, up in Michigan, and he deals with people who bring in their small, just family pets.
Absolutely.
I mean, do you have that? Do you ever get calls from ranchers around here that need somebody come out and look at an animal?
We do often. We get lots of different phone calls because we have such extended hours. So, our phones are ringing all day long, 7 days a week. So, although we don't do large animal medicine, our owners of our hospital do both have large animal practices. So we're able to kind of give them contact information for them in case of a cow or a horse or something that's injured, after hours.
Yeah. I mean, like I said, you watch Pohl and it's like he's got a mama, cow that's having problems. You got a breech birth and all the other stuff. That's crazy stuff that they got that they have to take care of.
It is. I'm going to tell you. So speaking of births, I mean, we do a lot of C-sections.
Okay.
So animals don't always deliver, between 8 and 5 Monday through Friday, right?
I can imagine that.
I used to call it C-section Sunday because it seemed like on Sundays is where, all these animals, needed surgery. So
it's really amazing talking about this because the whole field over the last, decade, maybe 20 years has exploded.
Absolutely. Which has created a huge shortage, particularly here in Arkansas, of veterinarians.
How are you excited that in Cabot they're going to have a vet school?
Oh, absolutely. They're opening one in Jonesboro, and they're having their first fall class. One of my employees got into that program, and she is starting this fall. And so we intend to be part of the teaching with that. We're extending that invitation to allow veterinary students to come in and train with us.
Okay, so there's a lot of classes if you want to get into the veterinarian field that you should probably take if you're a vet. But how about folks like you? I mean, do you have classes that colleges offer that you go take?
So for me, for instance, I have a couple master's degrees in administration and human resource development. So a lot of what it is that I do, is going to be managing people who can manage animals, right? And I'm a social worker by trade. So that's my undergraduate. So really the culmination of all that I have found has been so beneficial in this field because that is what we do. It is a business. We have to ensure our doors stay open. we do social work every day there because, we deal with grief counseling. We deal with, interviewing clients, getting information, providing resources. So I have found that my background in all that administration, social work has been very helpful.
All right. So do you have a lot of people that one of the best dogs that I've had here recently was not a Rottweiler, was a Doberman, and she found us. I mean, somebody dumped her.
Yes.
There's no doubt in my mind. And she just ran around my neighborhood. And, when I see a dog like that, I just talk to them. And they'll approach you sooner or later. I never put my hand out open. It's always the back of my hand, let them sniff at me and things of that nature.
Yeah.
And she became the family dog and was a great pet for the family. She died prematurely because she got bit by a copperhead. It killed her.
Yes.
And the whole grief thing, I mean, I really did. I missed her.
Yeah.
I'd sit in my recliner. She always thought that she was still a puppy. And she'd get up and lay next to me. And she was great. Look, when I sit in my chair and I'm watching television and I'm eating M&Ms or whatever and watching TV, she'd come up, sit next to me, and would bring her kibble and sit next to me, and she'd be eating the kibble next to me and would just kind of look at the television. I don't know if she's watching it or not, but she had a really close relationship.
Absolutely. They're man's best friend. And that truly is a legitimate statement. We see it every day. I mean, that's what makes them part of our families.
And that's the difference, a dog from a cat. I mean, when Dexter died, the dog that we had, I didn't want another animal until after 4 weeks of not having an animal around, I wanted to have an animal, but I wanted a cat. And cats are completely different in the way they act from dogs.
Yes, they are.
They'll come up and love on you and rub up against you and purr in the whole 9 yards. But when they don't want to be messed with, they don't want to be messed with.
They are a tad bit more independent. I definitely would agree with that.
All right, doing their thing. If people have their pets, what are some things that they might see that tips them off that there's something maybe medically wrong with their animal?
That is such a great question. And we do get those questions all the time. So I'm glad that you brought that up. A lot of the symptoms are pretty common for various types of illnesses and injuries. But when you see an animal that's become lethargic, one that's full of energy and all of a sudden it's not, that could be a red flag. Of course, vomiting and diarrhea, coughing and sneezing. We have animals that, limp or any swelling. So anything just out of the norm is something you should probably look into.
Like scratching.
Repetitive scratching. There are just so many different things that animals can have. And these days, truly, I say that anything we can treat in a human, basically we can treat in an animal. So it is very, very similar to human medicine. So when an animal just ain't doing right, to use kind of a funny little acronym that sometimes clients will say, that's where you need to ask questions. Maybe give your vet a call or, get a checkup and just make sure that everything is on board. Yeah.
All right. So keep that in mind. Can people just call you on the telephone?
Absolutely. Absolutely. Right. We get phone calls all day long. We get emails all day long with inquiries about, hey, this is what my pet's doing. Do you think I need to come in? Where that does get difficult is we can't legally give medical advice over the phone.
Oh, yeah, I can understand that.
And we have to be able to see your pet to truly give you a better indication of what might be going on. But we can always walk through about what that assessment might look like. So if a dog is just ain't doing right, as I said, lethargic, vomiting, all that, we may want to do some blood work. We may want to do some x-rays, make sure there's nothing obstructed. So there's a lot of diagnostics we can walk clients through about what might be necessary.
So here's the key. They're specialists. That's what they do.
That is what they do.
You know, they will take care of your pet for you, just like your doctor takes care of you. Finding a vet, I got to think, is kind of like finding a doctor. You got to find one that, you know, you got a good relationship with.
Yeah, I always tell people, you know, you need to have a good fit with your veterinarian. And not every veterinarian may not be the right fit for you. Doesn't mean they're doing anything wrong, but you do have to have some confidence in your practitioner, right? So just finding somebody that can visit with you on the level that you need so that you understand what's going on with your pet.
All right, we're going to take our final break, and then we'll come back and finish up this hour and this day of the Dave Elswick Show. It's 8:49 here at The Answer.
This is Carol Platt-Liebau for townhall.com.
a very quick trip to the vet. We have animals that maybe were bit 2 days ago, finally come to us because they thought, they're just not getting better. And it's too late at that point sometimes.
Okay. So the day of, if your animals is acting weird, and not itself, then it better than everybody else. Take them to the vet.
Absolutely. Let us do at least a quick assessment for them, and particularly with snake bites. Some dogs are reactive to the poisonous snakes. All dogs are reactive. Some are more so than others. So in many a case, anti-venom is necessary to help an animal recover.
Yeah, you got to keep that kind of stuff in mind. What's the biggest fallacy that pet owners have about going to the vet?
Oh, I've got a good one. This is one I really like to try to dispel, because we hear quite often, oh, we're just trying to rob you blind, or, you're making all this profit, off of us when you're just trying to offer things my pet doesn't need. That is very much a fallacy in that it is very expensive to run a veterinary clinic, and particularly urgent care, in my opinion, maybe more so than a general practice, because if you think about it, we need to have every drug, every piece of equipment in case we see every type of case, right? So with us being 7 days a week, it does take a lot to run that type of clinic to have enough comprehensive service for pets. So that is a fallacy that, hey, vets are out just to get your money. They're not. They're not. I promise you on that. They are typically charging as much as it needs to run that business and remain sustainable.
And they got to make some of their money back for going to school, because their schooling takes a long time.
A long time, hundreds of thousands worth of loans usually.
Wow.
So.
Okay. All right. I'll remember that. I'll say what I'm thinking under my breath. Now, anyway, no, I agree. And then there may come a time where, and I think this is what is important, why you should get used to taking your animal to one veterinarian who gets to know your animal. And that is, there may come a time when they're going to have that come to Jesus meeting with you. And, do you continue treatment, or do you help the dog or the cat, move on?
Absolutely. We believe in being very honest about that, being very direct in a compassionate way. There are times where, I hate to say it this way, but I will, death is not the worst option in many a case. So I think it's our moral obligation to talk with families when we don't think that there's much other hope.
Well, I had neighbors one time that they had a couple of Labrador retrievers, and I knew Labradors were a lot like Rottweilers, and their hips, they can have problems.
They do.
With their hips, it's called hip dysplasia. And, my dog didn't have that problem, but I've seen dogs that are suffering. They can hardly walk.
Yes.
And I said, have you ever thought about maybe it's time, for your pet to, get relief from this? And I could never do that. Okay. Yeah, you need to have a talk with your vet.
What I spend a lot of time talking with families. We average over 100 euthanasias a month at my hospital.
Wow.
So we do a lot of grief counseling there.
Yeah.
And natural death is less comfortable than euthanasia, typically. So it's hard for us to see a family that just can't let their animal go, but we know when they take them home, that pet's suffering.
Okay. All right. Out west. And what is give us the address again, give us the phone number again.
So we're at 14300 Cantrell Road off of Highway 10 there. Our phone number is 501-319-7355. And of course, we're on Facebook. You can Google our website. There's all different ways you can reach us.
All right. I appreciate you coming in and sharing with us.
Thank you for having me today.
It's really important that people know there's certain things you should do and certain things you shouldn't do.
That is very true.
All right.
Very true.
We appreciate you.
Thank you, Dave.
Take our break. I'll see you again tomorrow morning at 7 a.m. And of course, we'll be talking to French Hill and to Westerman tomorrow here on the Dave Elswick Show. Until then, I'll see you on the radio tomorrow, 7 a.m.
All right.
In a world of noise, truth cuts through. This is 101.1 The Answer, where Little Rock comes to talk. KDXE, Kamak Village, Little Rock.
Breaking news this hour from Town Hall. I'm Rich Thomason. The British military reports a second tanker has been hit in the Strait of Hormuz. Structural damage to the vessel. No reports, though, of anyone hurt. Hours earlier, an LNG tanker off Oman caught fire after being struck by some sort of projectile. Iranian state TV says the ship was targeted after it ignored warnings. President Trump arrived in Turkey a few hours ago, joining other NATO leaders at their annual summit in Ankara.
This summit comes as NATO faces perhaps the most serious challenges in its 77-year-long history. One of the most urgent is how to keep the U.S. president on board. Donald Trump has threatened unspecified consequences for those countries that fail to meet their targets for spending on defense, namely 3% by the year 2030.
The BBC's Frank Gardner. A preliminary hearing for accused Charlie Kirk assassin Tyler Robinson continues today. Yesterday, a former campus police officer testified that he found an apparent sniper pad on a gravel rooftop near where the young conservative leader was fatally shot. Calls are growing within his own party for Democrat Graham Plattner to drop out of the U.S. Senate race in Maine. On top of all of the other allegations, now a woman is accusing Plattner of sexual assault. Republican Senator Tom Cotton on the Democrat calls for Plattner to bow out.
His chief sin at this point is not those views or his misconduct or new allegations. His chief sin in the eyes of the Democrats is that he's losing to Susan Collins. Yep. And they're afraid that it's only got.
Cotton speaking with the Salem Radio Network, and while denying the accusations, Plattner says that he is reflecting on the best path forward. On Wall Street this morning, the Dow is up a fraction of a point, the NASDAQ down 234 points. More on these stories, townhall.com.
Are you tired of feeling lousy? Maybe you had a scare at your last checkup or just walking hurts? When enough is enough, call PhD Weight Loss. When I had enough 4 years and 53 pounds ago, I knew I couldn't do it alone. I'm Mike Gallagher for PhD Weight Loss. Best phone call I ever made. They were right with me. They still are today. Right now, mention Mike. You'll get 2 free weeks added to the program, and they'll pay for the cost of your food. $1,500 value. Call 864-644-1900, 864-644-1900, or visit myphdweightloss.com.
Maybe this is you too. There is enormous frustration right now with healthcare costs. It's amazing. Healthcare costs for families in the last 20 years have almost tripled, and it just keeps getting worse. All this to say, this is why MediShare is so in demand right now. People are looking for alternatives, and MediShare is proven. And yeah, you could save thousands of dollars a year and actually like it more. Here's the number. They're easy to talk to. 833-34-BIBLE. That's 833-34-BIBLE.
With your news flash, I'm Trey Westerberg, 101.1 The Answer. Receive your dental implants and new smile in as little as 1 day with Little Rock's dental implant specialist, Dr. Samuel F. Jurek, DDS. Schedule your consultation now at jurekdds.com. A prosecutor says 3 Arkansas State Park rangers were justified in using deadly force during a fatal shooting in Roland. Authorities say rangers responded to a reported medical emergency in May and encountered a man holding a large machete. The review found the officers' actions were lawful during the confrontation. Applications are now open for Arkansas's 2026 alligator hunting season. The Arkansas Game and Fish Commission is accepting entries through July 31st for hunters seeking permits at 9 locations across the state's 3 alligator management zones. Officials say selected hunters will participate in a limited harvest program. StubHub is facing a proposed class action lawsuit from customers who say canceled ticket orders ruin their plans to attend FIFA World Cup matches. The lawsuit alleges the company sold tickets that were unavailable or later revoked, leaving fans without access to games they had purchased. I'm Trey Westerberg with your news flash on 101.1 The Answer.
With your sports flash, I'm John Thayer on 101.1 The Answer. Kansas City Royals erupted offensively yesterday as they pounded out 22 hits and routed the Phillies 15-1. Noah Cameron got the win for the Royals. He's 5-6. Kansas City improved to 37-54. The St. Louis Cardinals were beaten at home. They fell to the Brewers 4-3. The Cardinals had 2 errors in the loss. St. Louis with the setback is now 47-41. U.S. men's national team was knocked out of the World Cup last night. They were routed by Belgium 4-1. The final score. Belgium advances to the quarterfinals. They'll take on Spain, who beat Portugal earlier in the day 1-0. Northside Power, your trusted name when the power goes out. Generators isn't something they do, it's all they do. Find out more at northsidepower.com. I'm John Thayer with your Sports Flash on 101.1 The Answer.
Foundations of Freedom, a look at America's founding principles and the leaders who shaped our nation.
When Abraham Lincoln was elected president in 1860, America stood on the edge of collapse. Over the next 4 years, the Civil War claimed more than 700,000 lives and tested whether our republic could endure. As the war drew to a close, Lincoln looked beyond victory. He looked toward healing. In his second inaugural address, he challenged the nation. Let us strive on to bind up the nation's wounds, to achieve and cherish a just and lasting peace. Lincoln understood that preserving the greatest experiment in self-government required more than winning a war. It required the character to restore what had been broken. More than 160 years later, America still faces division. The question is not whether we'll disagree. The question is whether we still have the wisdom and the character to heal together.
Without you, this radio station would not exist. Every day we strive to bring you messages of hope, life, and love. Now it's your turn to let us know how we're doing. If we have impacted your life in a positive way, please tell us your story. Call our Impact Hotline at 877-52-FAITH and tell us how the ministries on this radio station have changed your life. If there is ever a time when we need to encourage each other, now might be it. Call our Impact Hotline at 877-52-FAITH.
Program may contain pre-recorded material. From the